Camera number 71 of 365 is the Pentax MX, a fully manual camera requiring only two LR44 batteries to power the light meter, which is through the lens. So looking at the camera, let's just take the lens off first by just depressing the lens release and rotating the lens as usual, and then we can see the front of the camera quite sparsely populated, just two flash ports or synchronization abilities there, and then on the left hand side a self timer that is activated with its own separate button. Notice the mirror stays down during the course of the length of the self timer. There we go. And so that's it as far as the front goes. Just looking at the base, we have provision to fit a motor wind and then the battery chamber. So let's just in fact just put some batteries into the camera. Actually, just before I put batteries into the camera, just to point out, I'd forgotten this, the little window above the lens allows us to see our aperture when we look through the viewfinder. And on the right hand side we also have a dial arrangement, which there's a red, green and amber series of lights that correspond to the correct aperture and exposure for this particular camera. At some stage in this camera's life it's obviously had some repair done to it, because when I look through the viewfinder, the very last shutter speed doesn't actually correspond, so it seems to be one shutter speed out, so 1/25th should be in the middle of the series of shutter speed. So as I mentioned, we have to put the batteries in the base of the camera. We put the positive terminal facing down, and it's two LR44 batteries, and then simply screw on the battery lid. Okay, so let's just put the lens back on. For some reason doesn't seem to want to do that, so there we go. Looking at the top of the camera, we have the film rewind crank, which when it's lifted allows us to open our film door. And then on the other side we have the film wind on mechanism and film counter. The shutter button also features a lock. It has a little plastic black tip there. And then on the other side we have film shutter speeds, and film speeds. Shutter speeds go from 1000 through to B, and as I mentioned they're fully manual. And then the film speeds are set by pressing the little button and rotating the collar, which is difficult with one hand, but there we go. We can do that. Okay, so once we've put our film into our camera, which we do, as I mentioned earlier, by lifting the film rewind, put our film in as the normal route, and then to take the film out we simply press the button at the bottom and rewind our film. So that's it really as far as camera number 71 goes, the Pentax MX.